Joining us now, Matt Pinsker. Matt, running for the House of Delegates on the Republican side, District 56. There are a plethora of Republican candidates in this race tomorrow trying to succeed the not seeking for re-election. I've got better things to do with my time, Peter Farrell. Just a little joke there. And let me see if I can rattle all these candidates off. This is not easy to do. Okay, Matt Pinsker and John McGuire, George Goodwin, Craven Craig, Dr. Dakar the dentist, sorry I can't say his first name, and Mr. Pendergrast, who will get 1%. So we're discounting him, a former radio disc jockey, I believe, in the 1% crowd. Matt, good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me on again, John.
All right, so here's where I've got this race. I've got you winning. That's my prediction. I tell you what, if Perriello wins and I change my bet, I'm going to kick myself. Okay, Matt Pinsker, like the Energizer Bunny, Pinsker just keeps going and going right up to primary day, kind of grows on voters. This is my narrative on you, Matt, coming out in a few minutes. His consultant, Aaron Goldbranson, has done a nice job in this large field in separating out his candidate. He's done enough of just everything to win, but it's this down-home, gee whiz, I'm a Boy Scout, humble personality is the factor in this race you can't quantify. If it's there in a crowded field, I think that gives him the win. Plus, here's the kicker, Matt. Here's the kicker. Ready?
Ready.
Ron Hedlund backs you. Now, if Ron Hedlund backs you, I mean, that's enough for me. Don't you think, Matt?
I'm lucky to have his support. He's a great guy. He's done a lot, and he's been a real powerhouse working for my campaign.
I don't go against.
Huge debt of gratitude for everything he's done.
I don't go against Ron Hedlund. All right, I'm just we backed him for the state central race, and he swept the field like 3-1 or something. Made us laugh. We're still laughing about that. All right, Matt, tell us about here the final campaign weekend, about your race and how you think this is going to play out.
I think it's going well. I think we're going to just dominate the field, and here's why. We've done the most. We've had the most volunteers out there knocking on doors. I've been out there every day, all day for the last several weeks. We sent the most mail, reaching people by phone calls, and more on top of that. We're the only ones reaching directly to the voters with a number of videos discussing the issues in our community. When I'm going out there door knocking, I'm literally saying to people, because where I live, where I was born and raised, I grew up here. I'm your neighbor. My parents are your neighbors. They live just a mile down the road from me. Or I tell them, they say, wait, are you the brother of, so-and-so, one of my siblings? Again, this is where I was born and raised. This is my home. This is my community. So the feedback has been very positive. Our message of stopping these sanctuaries is resonating with voters. Our message of fighting back against these radical liberals who are taking over college campuses, rioting in the streets, it's resonating. And as a business owner, when someone wants to talk taxes, we can do that at the door. However, we can squeeze at every angle. If you want to talk about community safety and public safety, I wrote the textbook and I've been teaching training law enforcement for 5 years now. So the feedback has just been overwhelming going door to door. And, I really respect, the voters for what they've had to say.
When you're going door to door, Matt, what's on voters' minds? I mean, obviously, you knock on somebody's door, you're running in the 56th district. The first thing they say is, what, who, what, House of Delegates, what do they do? All right, so I get that. But when you get through that and you get in people's kitchens or living rooms or you're out on their front porch, what are they saying?
The number one thing people want to talk about is sanctuary cities. Because our district is right in the middle of Richmond and Charlottesville, which are underway there. And we're right in the middle of that with the I-64 Beltway. So whatever happens in one area will definitely affect us somehow or other. And we're already seeing an influx of gang activity from MS-13 ever since Richmond was declared a sanctuary city. And, this terrifies voters, rightfully so. We're already having enough issues with law enforcement and drug epidemic. We already have issues with illegal immigration and the law and the workforce. And our healthcare system is already overburdened in the ER. So, again, this is the number one issue people want to talk about. Obviously, taxes are another subject. Again, a lot of business owners out here, a lot of entrepreneurs. So that's another topic. Gun rights, another thing, is hugely important. which is why I'm proud to say I have an A rating from the NRA, 100% from the VCDO, and 100% from the National Association of Gun Rights. So again, these are the issues people want to talk about. These are issues which, for me, again, they're just not theoretical. Somehow or other, because of my professional background, are my everyday life. So we can have a good conversation about that in people's kitchens.
Matt, looking at this race and all the people in it, how have you been able to separate yourself out and get your message out? Like if somebody's running in this is a six-person campaign, a lot of money being spent, 3 ways to Wednesday, a lot of good candidates. People have heard of them. Everybody's got their bases and their home areas. How do you break through that and get out your message?
Very simple. It's action over rhetoric or results over rhetoric. People say, I'm a conservative and I will fight for you. And say, that's nice. You're saying what you will do. I've actually been out there doing it. I fought and defended the Red Cross. I wrote legislation to protect the military from campus radicals. Since I was 15 years old, I've been knocking on doors for conservatives to get them elected. So, again, it's action over rhetoric. Or if you want to talk, again, sanctuary cities and public safety. I literally wrote the textbook because one didn't exist to teach, aspiring law enforcement how to, safely police our communities. I've been working with them every day for the last 5 years. You have an opioid epidemic in this area, and for 5 years I've been working with people, helping them get treatment. So, every election cycle, people treat, law enforcement as a political football. They come out and say, oh, I'm going to support them. I'm going to do X, Y, Z for them. Or this opioid epidemic is terrible. We need to do more for it. I'm thinking, well, I'm glad you're finally saying about this, bringing attention to this issue, but where have you been the last 5 years? This is an election issue. This is my everyday life. Working with the police, working with people suffering from addiction, training immigration agents who will work on illegal immigration. So when you can say, look, I'm not talking about this, I'm doing it, that's something voters respect, because I've been doing this before I started running for office. If you want to know what someone's like, what they're about, don't look at what they're saying when they're asking for your vote. What are they saying, and more importantly, what are they doing when they weren't asking for your vote? And for the last few years, this is what I've been doing all day, every day. And when I go to the door and tell the voters about what I've been doing when I wasn't asking for their vote, they respect that. And they walk away from the door with a new voter.
All right, so has there been any negative campaigning in this race? I mean, it's tough to go negative when you got 6 people, right?
One person made a comment, but I'd rather not talk about that. I'd rather just stay focused on the positive, what we can do for cutting taxes, protecting gun rights, stopping these sanctuary cities. And, I'll happily talk about the 2 Democrats vying for the nomination. They openly talk about how they're social justice warriors. They've been inspired by Bernie Sanders. That's really where we should focus our energy. That's where we want to fight back again. That's where my attention is given, to stopping what they're trying to push.
All right, Matt, I'm going to give you a final minute and a half here. What is your closing message to your District 56 voters?
Well, to the voters, again, I know every election cycle, especially this one, people come out of the woodwork and start asking for your vote, and they start telling you things like they're from your community. They start telling you that they're conservatives, and they tell you they'll fight for you. But I'll tell you the exact same thing I tell my students. Don't tell me, show me. Your actions speak louder than your words. When I haven't been asking for your vote, I've been a conservative fighter, a conservative leader. I fought for and defended the Red Cross, got that cross back in the chapel, and that liberal administrator out of the university. When radicals were discriminating actively against military science, ROTC on college campuses, I didn't stage a rally or have a protest. I went down to the General Assembly, worked with the Republican leadership, got legislation through fixing that issue. I'm a fighter because I fight for what I believe in. I believe in this country. That's why I joined the Army Reserves and currently serving as a captain in the Judge Advocate General's Corps. These days, I'm not telling you that I'm going to protect our community from illegal immigration. I'm not telling you I'm protecting us, from criminal threats. I'm actually doing something about it. For 5 years, I've been training law enforcement here. Many of the officers patrolling your streets right now are former students of mine. Many of the federal agents, FBI, as well as those working for immigration, trying to crack down sanctuary cities, they're former students of mine. So again, I don't need to tell you this is what I believe in. I've shown you. I'm running not to start anything. I want to continue the work I've been doing when I wasn't running. I want to continue my conservative activism, conservative leadership, to cut taxes, stop these sanctuary cities, protect the unborn, and protect our gun rights. So if you agree with what I'm saying, if it resonates with you, then I ask for your vote this Tuesday, June 13th. Vote Matt Pinsker for delegate. Thank you.